Joe's Inner Child Podcast.
So Emily and Mary, how are you guys doing today? Wait,
Fantastic.
is your name Mary?
Fabulous.
Do you go by Mary Rogers or Mary Cameron Rogers?
Mary Cameron.
Okay.
But it is Mary Cameron Rogers, but I do go by Mary Cameron.
Okay. Is that a married name or is that just something you changed for your student?
No, it's Cameron is my middle name. So I just, and Mary, there's so many Marys in my family. So I go by Mary Cameron.
I got you. Now, Emily, I just watched the movie. I should ask both of you. Have you guys seen it? I don't want to spoil anything for you guys if you have not.
I don't know.
I know, Emily, you edited it. Emily, you edited it. You wrote it. You directed it. So you are completely, you know everything. But my question is, did you give Mary and the other actors the full script, or did you kind of leave certain things to mystery based on how the movie unfolds?
Nothing was left for mystery when it came to working with the actors. I wanted everything to be open and upfront, and I feel like that's the best way to get the best performances, and that we can all talk about it together. And I was asked literally today, are you the kind of director that, they have to do word for word what's on the script, or do you have it open for the actors to kind of come in and make adjustments? And I'm very much that person that we all sit together, we read the script together, and it's like, would you say it like this? Are these kind of like the words that would come out of your mouth? Or if they are not, what would you say? How would you word this? And so literally we spent a few weeks just as a team, the other actors, like all of us, kind of going through it together and wording it how they would say something, keeping the integrity of the story, but yet making sure that it sounds organic and real coming out of their mouth and not just words off of, the paper. I'm very much a collaborator. Like, I love to see what everyone's going to bring when they come in together, like, let's do this together, guys. This is a team. We're going to battle together. I feel like William Wallace half the time, like, where's my axe? It's like, we got this, like, we're going up against this brick wall, and like, the other army's just staring at us, and we're just this independent film coming up, so here we are.
Well, I love how collaborative that process was. Mary, is that something that you feel is different than how you've done your past productions? And do you feel like it made things easier or changed your approach to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great question. I'm a really firm believer that if you are close to your entire cast and crew, it is so important, because it does show on film at the end of the day, and that genuine connection and the story that lies behind and beneath, and the secrets, and everything that makes the story so authentic and real and vibrant. That's really important to have those connections. So I think what we had was something very special, because Emily Skye and I have been working together a little over 7 years. And that was so special because I felt that I could trust her no matter what. And she trusted me, and we were able to work with each other so open. So we communicated amazingly on set, no matter what was happening, we hit obstacles or not. And we just we needed advice, or if we needed to change things around, we were so open to it. And I think because working with someone and knowing how they work, it definitely helped me in the long run, especially as it was my first feature film as a lead actor. It was a very special moment.
That's awesome. I wasn't aware that this was your first. Sorry, the dog, no matter what I'm doing, he'll scratch at me if he hears me talking to somebody else. So I apologize.
It's all good. I get that too. I have 2 huskies, and I had to put them in the other room. Otherwise, they would be sitting on me.
Well, that's why I put him on the logo. So Emily, you were involved in like so many different aspects of this. I saw that when I was watching the credits, I saw that you wrote, you directed, you edited. So like, did you have experience in all of those fields as far as the behind the camera stuff prior to this, or is this something where you had to learn a little bit of these different wearing different hats?
No, I've actually been doing all of these different roles for over 13 years. This film, I got to kind of do it all together. as far as being the DP and director on my directorial debut, which was just exciting because it was such a controlled environment that I was able to be so close to Mary and to Courtney and to Becky and to Rob and to Alex. I was like right there with them. And I feel as a director, being a cinematographer is just another extension to who I am as a storyteller. So I was able to be there with them and make adjustments if I had to make adjustments. And I didn't have to go down the line and be like, okay, we need to do this and this. I personally could just go like this, like I didn't have to like say, okay, like let's, I was able to see that. And I was already anticipating her movements and her just everything, because we blocked everything together. So I was already aware of a lot of these cues and moments. So I was able to really move with them. And because it was all handheld with, obviously we had drones and we did do some stick shots, but predominantly the entire film was handheld. And I wanted to feel this unstable disconnect that Mary is going to feel as River, so it was just a whirlwind, and it was a whole experience, but it was great to be able to put everything that I've learned and that I've done separately together. And I would not have been able to do it without the support of an amazing team that stood behind me and allowed me to do these things. Like I could not have done this without amazing gaffers, without my amazing AC, without a great AD, without a great on-set producer, without Mary giving her all, without all the PAs, without Crafty, without our compliance officer, who was so freaking nice. We were so lucky to have her, because I heard some stories, about other sets. So honestly, this was like, I stand behind it. I'm proud of what we did together during a pandemic. Obviously, as a creative person, we're going to look at any project that we've ever done and be like, oh God, like I would have done so many things differently, but it's okay because we did this out of love, out of passion, and we just wanted to make something together, and we did. And I'm proud of it.
I love that super passionate answer from you. And I noticed that you guys are both producers. So did you guys kind of work on this ahead of bringing everybody else into this? Like, did it kind of begin with you two and explode from there?
It started with
FaceTime.
Yes, it began with a FaceTime. Mary, why don't you explain this? Explain it, Mary.
Tell me about the Big Bang on FaceTime.
Oh, this is the Big Bang. Be prepared. So this is what happened when the pandemic hit. Emily and I have always been so creative together. We were losing our mind, as everyone else was. And we said, you know what? Let's just film a teaser over FaceTime. She's in Florida with her camera, filming on FaceTime on my computer. My fiance is holding the laptop above me while I'm, River, and doing my little scene. And I have a fire escape at my home. So, we use things that we could just have fun with. And because of the, audience that we got off of that by posting it on social media, people were so interested. Like, what happened? What is all of this about? And, I ended up going back to North Carolina, my hometown, where Emily met me, and we actually shot the short film because we just loved the story so much. And this was Emily's vision for so long. And she has been sitting on this story for a while. So we really were so passionate about it, shot the short film, won awards that we did not expect to get. And here we are. Our feature comes out July 13th.
Yeah, it's super cool to see that like transition. So did you guys set up to make a minimalist cast because of the pandemic, and it would be easier to, obviously do everything with only 5 actors?
Yeah, we had to. So our concern was getting shut down, because there was a lot of productions getting shut down because places went on lockdown again. And we just didn't want to take a chance on having extras and extra people like a part of the project. And we're like, you know what, let's just keep the story just about River, and about the characters that are in River's life, and just focus on that and keep it more contained. But yet I wanted it to be visually appealing as well, because I wanted, even though it's a grounded sci-fi, I wanted you to feel like you're in this other world as well. And so I wanted the greens, I wanted, the forests, I wanted this to feel isolation still too, because River does feel isolated, and I wanted to show her feeling a little bit more isolated. And so I felt like it all kind of worked to our advantage of creating this project. And ultimately, I had a wise producer. Her name is Sienna Oberman. She gave me wise words February of 2020 of, Emily, I know you're chasing like these big budget films, that you have scripts and you have all of these projects. She's like, but you need to do something for under $300,000 and just do it. And I was like, huh. So then I brought River out and I was like, all right, so let's do this, let's make this happen, and then here we are, so it's surreal. It's very surreal to be in this moment with the people that I love so much. And, this friendship that Mary and I have together. And there's no one else. When I asked her, I'm like, do you want to be, I'm like, Mary, you deserve to be an executive producer on this project because you stood with me when no one else would stand with me. You believed in me. We believed in each other. And there's no other person in this world I would rather share this opportunity with than Mary. So like she had no choice. She just was brought in. I'm like, you're doing this.
I was like, we got it.
Well,
yeah.
Mary, I wanted to know, I think it's Alexandra is the name of the actress who played, I'm blanking on
Amanda.
Yeah. Yes. So without any spoilers, there's multiple, as the movie progresses, there's multiple different scenes where your chemistry is a bit different with that actress. Is that something that you guys had to work on a little bit more, or did you guys just kind of improv that because you guys are pros?
You know what? I think this comes with saying about how the feature pans out and, what happens at the very end of the story. And Alexandra Rose was just so incredible to work with. And we both have the same peppy personality, ready to go. We already had that best friend relationship. And even though we had just met to do the short together, Emily brought her on and was like, I feel like you would just do so great side by side with her. And she was right. Now, getting into those moments where, you are second guessing your best friend's movements and judgment, and they're not understanding you, you start thinking and feeling lost. And you always have your best friend there. So when you don't have your best friend there, it's a sort of like, I'm spiraling out of control and I have no one beside me, especially because of my mother's death. And my mother wasn't there with me anymore either. So with that being said, it was definitely an interesting journey, but I think because we are so subtle with each other and we can get there and be grounded, we just rehearsed as much as we wanted to where it felt comfortable, because those moments are so interesting where, she is not my best friend in those moments. I'm like, who is this girl? Why is she acting and doing these certain behaviors and all of these things that are happening? So yeah, to step out of that best friend mindset, it just kind of comes natural, because you wouldn't want your best friend to act like that at all.
Yeah, definitely. I love that the way that you broke that down as far as like script wise, that even affects how you played that out. Emily, I want to know, since you had this River script, before you even started this production, what was the initial spark that helped you conceptualize this idea? Like when I write, there's like something initial that I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, and then build things around it. With the River having so many different aspects to it, was there something specific that you wanted to write about and then you built the story around that? Or did you kind of, well, I guess that's probably the end of my question. Can you explain it? Sorry.
No, it's awesome. So River, there's a lot of pieces to the story that revolve around experiences that I've gone through in my life. I was in not the greatest relationship, and I felt very disconnected from friends and family and myself. I didn't know it was true. I didn't know what was like reality. I didn't want to believe this was my reality. Like I felt like I was in this vortex of this can't be real life. And so I really pulled from different moments and people and things, and I created River based on that, as well as my love of sci-fi and just alien abductions in New Hampshire and Wolfboro. I read so many books of people's stories, and I was like, oh, this would be so cool to kind of create this world mixed with the experiences that I've gone through, but yet still have a disconnected, it's a disconnect from myself. So it's not so personal where people are like, oh, you're talking about me. Like, oh, you know, all of these different things. I wanted to have some kind of separation in there as well. And so I felt like a grounded sci-fi mixed with real events that have occurred, I feel like people could relate to in some degree, if it's not grieving over a family member or a relationship or trying to find yourself. Because I think at the end of the day, we all are afraid to take a leap into the unknown and facing who we truly are and taking that curtain off and being like, okay, this is who I am. My mom's been saying this for so long, but I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to see it. And now you're faced at the end with having to face that. And it's like, do I jump into the unknown, even though it's scary as hell? Or do I just go back into the way things were because it's safe and controlled? And I know this relationship's okay, you know? So I feel like at the end of the day, you have to face your fears. You have to jump into the unknown, and you don't know what that's going to look like. If it's going to be a spaceship sucking you up into the sky, or if it's going to be, you know, making a film and, you know, having it handed over to the audience that you have no control over. So it's, you know, I think that's at the end of the day, that's just where this whole story kind of came together.
So you guys have some fancy lighting bits during the show. I wanted to know if that was happening while you were actually filming and acting, or was that something that was added in post?
It was all practical special effects. So, you know, from the light beams to the leaves blowing up in the air to we used a leaf blower. And that's what we did with the short film as well. Literally, Mary's fiance was holding a lamp over her head for the short film, and he was like dangling it. And then my brother was holding the leaf blower, blowing the leaves up in the air. And we're just like, let's do this, you know? So
in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the pitch black forest. We're just like, let's get some
spiders in our
here.
face.
Yeah. Spiders, like the haze machine, everything is going. And we're like, this is a great idea to do for the feature film as well. Let's do it, you know? And we did. And the same goes for like all the lights that are flickering around Mary when she's in the office with Dr. Glenn. Like that was all practical special effects. Like we had it all rigged out, or an amazing gaffer like literally rigged the whole thing to make it work. And I love practicals. I love being able to work in an environment where it's like there. So
made it seem more real. It really felt like it was actually happening. When it's done in post, you can have the vision, but when it's really happening at that moment, when you're on camera, you're there. You know, so having that done with the amazing people that we were working with, they really nailed it and let that, you know, that vision come to life.
Yeah, it makes it much more immersive for you, I imagine, just as an actress in those scenes. Plus, it sounds like it was fun, and like that type of stuff. Like when you guys are having fun with something you're passionate about, that's why it translates so well on screen.
Yes.
I wanted to know, She Wolf, I think, is the production company. Is that your production company, Emily?
Yes. She Wolf Films, yeah.
So I had seen something. It was, I think at the end it had said something like counter gender or gender balance.
Yeah, gender balanced.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? I thought that was pretty cool, especially since most of the cast were.
Hey Joe, so sorry to jump in, but this needs to be our last question as we're running out of time. So sorry.
Oh yeah, I sent you a message. You must not have seen it asking you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yes. We'll have her answer this one, then we need to jump. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I apologize for that.
Thanks for having us, though. You're awesome. So, so the gender balanced film is founded by Sundance, and I made it very important to make sure that not only having amazing women in key roles, but having amazing men too in key roles was just so important in front and behind the camera, making sure it was like diversity. There's a lot of like inclusion. Like that's just how the kind of stories that I want to tell. And I'm always a part of, like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, only women, because I don't want to be that either. I don't want to just disconnect from men because we need them. They're awesome. I know some amazing men, and I brought them into River. So we were recognized as being a gender balanced production, filling the key roles with women and having key roles with men as well, and inclusion all around. So it's really cool to be acknowledged by Sundance as that. So
That's awesome. Thanks for explaining that. And I'm sorry I kept you guys so
No,
long.
you're awesome.
No, it's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Thank you so much. You guys have fun with the rest of your press day.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
It was
much.
nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
You too.
Bye.
Guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Literary Joe's Inner Child Podcast.